McDaniels. Good evening. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Spring Independent School District. It is now officially called to order on Tuesday, April 12th, and the time is now 7:01 p.m. Trustees present are Trustee Adams, Trustee Correa, Trustee Hodges, Trustee Durant, Trustee Jensen, Trustee Newhouse, and Trustee McDaniels. I'd like to ask everyone to please turn off or silence your cell phones or any electrical devices. Give you a minute. Thank you. Tonight's presentation of colors will be led by the Westfield Mustang Army J ROTC. The pledges will be led by Battalion Commander Fabian Casaneros. Color Guard Commander carrying the U.S. flag is Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Fabian Casaneros. Carrying the Texas flag is Cadet Corporal Mia Brown. Left rifle is Cadet Private First Class Virgie Mott. Right rifle is Cadet Private First Class Neleyi Kaslasro. Hope I got that correctly. The Westfield Mustang Army JOCT is led by Major Charles Thompson. This group, I'd like to let all of you know, of young ladies will be competing at the Army's Nationals in Daytona Beach, Florida this weekend. So we're honored. To have these ladies with us this evening. And at this time, I would like to ask everyone to please rise. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now for the Texas pledge.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Please pause for a moment of silence. You may now be seated.
Our next item for tonight's agenda is our superintendent remarks. And so we'll now hear from Superintendent Dr. Lapita Hinojosa.
Thank you, Mr. Ant, and members of the board and our community that's here tonight, as well as those that are joining us online. Just so excited to have everyone here. And just some announcements and more reminders for everyone. For our parents, our guardians that are here tonight and online, as well as our teachers, as well as our students in middle school and high school. And I see some of our high school students here today. Just want to remind you that everyone should have received their school quality survey. And this is a survey that's extremely important to us in Spring ISD, the administration, and also to our board that's sitting here. This survey is to get feedback, get your feelings about our schools. It's called the School Quality Survey. We want to hear from our parents, our guardians, our students, our teachers. How are we doing? So you got this survey on Monday, just yesterday, and it will be open through Sunday, April the 24th for our students. Just to reiterate, kids that are in grades 6 through 12, we want to hear from you. And so you can do it online. As I said, it's an automated survey, won't take you very long, but it's so important for us to hear from you. If you did not get your survey for some reason, your email account wasn't working, don't worry. If you didn't receive it, if you go to our website, there's a URL code there or a QR code that you can use so that you can still participate and let us hear from you. The next piece that I want to share is, and we talked a little bit about it on Thursday, is our pre-K and kindergarten roundup. So back on April 4th, so about a week and a half ago, we opened our registration for all of our students that will be 4 years old as of September 1st. And so what's really exciting for us is our board has supported full day pre-K, but most importantly, full day pre-K for students that are of age, that meet that age requirement. No other eligibility is required. And so we want you to come to school. It's so very important that we get all of our little ones in, because that starts their foundation for their education. And in reality, that's our future. So if you know of any 4-year-olds or students that will be 4-year-old on September 1st, go next door, invite them to go on the website and register. We've got plenty of room in our schools. We want you to come in. And I'll tell you, in about 5 days, we had over 500 students that enrolled, and also kindergarten students that have never been in schools. So invite everyone. We want you here. The next piece, and we mentioned it last week, but this week I want you all to remember, it's our National Public School Safety Telecommunication Week. So this honors all of our trained professionals who are the first point of contact when you dial 911. So especially here in Spring ISD, we have an entire team under the direction of our Chief of Police, Chief Colbert. And so we want to recognize and we want to celebrate them and thank them for the work that they're doing. And then last but not least, just again, to thank all of our community that contributed to our Tri-Club, to our students that are raising animals, to our students that participate in that program. As I said before, we challenged our community for us to raise $20,000, and we raised $26,000 to support our students. So yes, that's a big, big round of applause. And that's because of all of you. And I have to say also our students. So today I was out at Reynolds Elementary. So big shout out to Reynolds. I was out there doing cafeteria duty with first and second graders. And I'll tell you, an amazing group of kids, but it's our way to say thank you to one of the schools that raised the most money. And so we'll continue to go out there, but most importantly, to let our students know their work and their contribution matters. Just totally excited. And Mr. Ant, Just totally proud as I'm looking out at the audience, all of our teachers that are here, our students, our principals, our parents that are here. Just very grateful to have all of you here in the audience. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Hinojosa. I'd now like to ask my colleagues of our trustees if anyone has any remarks they'd like to make this evening.
Well, I can start it off. When you're on the school board, you need to be trained all the time to keep up with things and to know what's going on in the district. And we have had some superb trainings. And like in my business, I like to call it professional development in-house and also with the national school boards. But I will tell you, one of the most useful things I have done is that cybersecurity training is required of all board members. And I've been very, very careful about my Spring ISD email and following the rules I've learned. But in the last week, I have had 2 attempts of cybersecurity attacks on my phone, texting, and with my private email. And it just was wonderful to look at that thing and say, there are red flags all over this. I'm not touching it, just swipe. So anyway, I know that we have some parental information to help keep your kids secure as well in Spring ISD. So I strongly urge everybody to do that. It just seems to be suddenly a very dangerous world out there.
Good evening, everyone. I wanted to mention, Dr. Hinojosa talked about it, the livestock show and fair. It was my very first one, and I was in awe. I was just, I was amazed at our children and just the talent they have, the dedication that they have. We had these itty bitties that had these huge animals that they were taking care of, and they were able to just manage. And the common theme throughout the afternoon was how difficult it is in a big city like Houston to maintain livestock and care for them well. Prior to, we were farmers and it was easier when you're on a farm, but now being in a bigger city, it really takes dedication. I had a chance to talk to one of our high schoolers, and she talked about how every day after school, she goes straight to her animals and takes care every single day. Her sister is a part of it. So I just wanted to say just kudos to our children, all of them who are part, of course, our winners, but all of our students who are part of FFA, Tri Club, to the teachers and staff that support them. Thank you. And I was just in awe, and just keep up that dedication and hard work. So there we go.
Okay, I'd like to echo. This is kind of my favorite time of the year. We have a lot of events, activities, and then it ends with all of our graduations. And we get such big fat paychecks as board members. But we get rewarded when we're able to spend time with the students and see their successes and graduation. And Tri Club is one of my favorite events every year. And it's just amazing. If you haven't been, you should go. The dedication for our kids. Also, I had an opportunity to actually be a judge at the capstone projects at Winchie, which I really enjoy doing every year. It is amazing how smart, bright, and beautiful those students are over there, and some of the wonderful ideas that they came up with. One of the students was talking about plastics, and she actually created a mock-up of it's kind of like a mechanical well that will go on the bottom of the ocean and actually attract the plastic and bring it in so that it can be reused, recycled. And so I was just like, wow, just the work that they're doing over there at Winchie is amazing. And we have some of them here to share some of it with you tonight, and I'm excited about that. So I'm just really always in awe of our students and what a wonderful job they do. And we actually have a chance to get out and spend time with them as board members. So thank you. So we're going to go ahead, and if you have a comment, go ahead.
I do. I did want to comment on something that all of us attended, the celebration of Coach Julie Wyrick out at Spring High School. And I think it is worth mentioning anytime we can celebrate an educator that spent more than 2 decades supporting and coaching and teaching our children. I just think that that's something that deserves mention in this forum, and I wanted to make sure that we all celebrate Coach Wyrick and thank her for her many years of service.
Madam President, lastly, I'd like to do kudos and thank you to the Spring ISD Foundation. The foundation had a Grand Express trip a couple of weeks ago, and we went out to schools and gave $20,000 to teachers who had applied for grants in our schools. So thank you to the Spring Foundation for the hard work you do for our teachers. Thank you.
Thank you. So, you're right. Okay. So our next item is points of pride, which is another one of my favorite time of the meeting. At this time, I'd like to recognize our Chief of Communications, Lester Grutch.
Good evening, Board President Durant, trustees, Dr. Hinojosa, and everyone in attendance tonight, and also watching at home or around the world, wherever you may be. As a reminder for anyone who might be unfamiliar with the points of pride, these recognitions are given for achievement beyond the local level, including high-level statewide awards and honors, as well as national level awards earned by district students, staff members, and Spring ISD departments. At tonight's meeting, we're honoring 3 incredibly talented student musicians from Dekaney High School and Spring High School, each of whom earned a place in the 2022 Texas All-State Music Ensembles. Sponsored by the Texas Music Educators Association, All-State is the highest individual honor a Texas music student can receive, and being chosen for the All-State Ensembles is an honor that goes to just a select few across the state each year, truly the cream of the crop among student musicians. Tonight, we're honored to have these students here with us to be recognized by the board. And at this time, I'd like to invite our Director of Performing and Visual Arts, Dr. Joe Clark, to the podium to tell us a little bit more about the All-State program and about the students selected this year. Dr. Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Gretsch. I appreciate it very much. Our students continue to amaze me every day, and I'm proud of their work and of their teachers. So good evening, President Durant, Dr. Hinojosa, members of the board. It's an honor to address you. And Madam President, if I can echo what you said too, it's the tired work that makes, or the great work that makes us tired. And I could say this is tiring, but this is absolutely great work. So I appreciate everything that you guys said. This is a great honor. Tonight, we are pleased to recognize 3 of our Spring ISD music students who have each achieved the highest level honor possible in the state of Texas, which is the TMEA All-State Audition. Before I begin, I'd like to invite the students and their directors to join me here at the podium as we recognize them for their outstanding accomplishments. So I'll ask them to come up and join us now. And that way we get them up here and I can tell you a little bit about the award too. The TMEA All-State Audition is a rigorous audition process that begins with 70,000 students from across the state of Texas. 70,000, okay? 70,000 students from across the state of Texas. And then they select the top 1,800 student musicians. These students then perform in one of 18 music ensembles during the annual TMEA convention in San Antonio. So please allow me to break this down for you just a little bit more because I have to say it again. 70,000 students whittled all the way down to 1,800 is the top 2.5%. The top 2.5%. So this means in music, these students standing up with me today are currently in the top 2.5% in the state of Texas. Can we please give them a big round of applause? And this is such a special occasion too, that we have some parents that they speak perfect English and perfect Spanish, but we want to make sure that they understand exactly what we're saying too. So some of their parents are students up here too. So please give us a moment to translate too.
Muy buenas noches, Presidenta Durán, Doctora Hinojosa y a los miembros del board. En esta noche estamos completamente complacidos en reconocer a 3 estudiantes de música de Spring ISD que han logrado el honor más alto que se puede lograr para un estudiante músico en el estado de Texas. La competencia o la audición es bien rigurosa y el proceso comienza con 70,000 estudiantes participando, de los cuales se seleccionan a los más altos 1,800 estudiantes. Estamos hablando del 2 2.5% de los estudiantes. Así que nuestros estudiantes que están aquí en esta noche representan el 2.5% de los estudiantes a nivel más alto en música en el estado de Texas. And another big round of applause. Thank you very much. And I appreciate that very much. Our parents do so much for us too. So we want to make sure that they are fully feel at home here too as well. So I hope that provides a little bit more context about the magnitude of this award. The top 2.5% in Texas is an incredible accomplishment. So at this time, what we're going to do is we'll have the directors introduce their students. At this time, I would like to ask Mr. Chase Giddings from Dekaney High School to introduce their student. Mr. Giddings, would you like to come up here, please?
Thank you very much, Dr. Clark, President Durant, members of the board, Dr. Hinojosa. The first student I'd like to introduce is Diego Chapela Perez. Diego and his parents as well, who's standing in the back, are sitting. Can y'all stand for a second? Thank you. Thank you. Diego is a sophomore at Dekaney High School, making the All-State band. And actually, he's made history for Dekaney as he's our first saxophonist to make the All-State band. He's an outstanding student. Yes, absolutely. Outstanding student, both musically, but as well as academically. And so it's an honor to teach him. And so I would like to just introduce you. This is Diego Chapela Perez.
All right, thank you, Mr. Giddings. All right, next, I would like Ms. Melisson to come up, please, from Spring High School to introduce her student. All right, Ms. Melisson.
Thank you. This is Gina Enquist, and her mother, also Sophia, is with us right here. She's currently a junior at Spring High School. She is an AP honors student and part of the National Honor Society. She's ranked 6th in her class. She has many accolades of her. She's a great student, but she's a really phenomenal human being as well, and we're really proud of her.
And lastly, Mr. Smith from Spring High School, please come up and introduce your student.
Good evening. Thank you for this invitation to introduce you to a wonderful young star in Rafael Izquierdo. He is a clarinetist from the Spring Band. And even though he's a soft-spoken young man, not a man of many words, he's found a resounding voice in the clarinet in his study of clarinet performance. In addition to his all-state honors, he's an all-A and B honor roll at Spring High School. He was a member of the bronze medalist UIL State Chamber Music Ensemble from Spring High School and has gained acceptance into the University of Houston and the University of North Texas music schools. And now we're just letting them fight over who's going to give them the most money to go to school. He is truly an incredible young musician and brilliant young man to work with every day. We're really grateful for him. Thank you.
And I know we, excuse me, I know we mentioned that we applauded for some parents too, but at this time, this would not be possible without the incredible support from the parents at home, the countless hours, everything that they've committed to getting these kids here. So at this time, will all the families in the audience of these incredible students please stand and be recognized? Please stand up and be recognized again. And it's funny because I recognize them because I've seen them in San Antonio. I've seen them in Austin. I've seen them just about everywhere on the road. So thank you so much for your service. Gracias. All right. And finally, these accomplishments are only possible with the incredible support of our campus leaders. I'm just so grateful for all of the campus leadership. They continue to go out of their way for all their students, both in and out of the classrooms. They recognize the importance of pushing and supporting excellence in their programs, and we'd like to thank them for their leadership. Mr. Resendiz, I know you're in the audience, and Mr. Reynolds couldn't join us, and he's with somebody else, but from Dekaney and Spring High School. And I know Mr. Resendiz is in the audience. If you could please stand. Please stand. Big round of applause. And since he's here, I will tell you, I was there with his first day at Spring High School, walking the school with him. And even from the first day, I want to thank him for the support that he has done for the fine arts. And this doesn't just happen overnight. So that support means so much to us and to these kids. So again, Mr. Resendiz, thank you very much. Appreciate all the support. So Madam President, at this time, I'll turn it over if you have any comments or congratulations. And if you guys would like to join them in the horseshoe for,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'd like to congratulate Diego, Gina, and Raphael. We're very, very proud of you. And if my colleagues can join me down in the horseshoe.
great job. Just right there. And then if you guys want to go around, shake hands, your pictures.
And parents, if you would like to, you are welcome to come up and take pictures as well.
Parents, if you guys want to come up, take some pictures? Yes. Some of you and I already made sure you're going,
We're so very proud of our fine arts department and the students and their wonderful accomplishments. And now we'd like to move forward. Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. Congratulations. Yeah, thank you.
And just real quick, if Mr. Reynolds is watching, thank you very much for your support also. And Madam President, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you. That wrap up points of pride tonight. All right, thank you, Mr. Gurch, for that this evening. Our next item is agenda participation. This item allows members of the public an opportunity to speak on agenda items before the items are considered by the board. So, Mr. Binkley, do we have anyone registered to speak this evening under agenda participation?
Yes, Madam President, we have 2 community members who have signed up to speak under agenda participation. Before I call our first speaker up, I just need to read a short excerpt from the script. The board invites interested citizens to address the board regarding any item on tonight's agenda that they desire, other than allegations concerning the character or capability of any board member, staff member, citizen, or student of the district. The board will listen and will not interrupt unless the person addressing the board infringes on the guidelines as stated previously or exceeds the time limit authorized for the presentation. In this case, each of you will have 3 minutes to present. Mr. Sheffer will keep time, which will be displayed on the monitors. The board will not debate nor respond to any question during agenda participation. The board will seriously consider your input when addressing the items on tonight's agenda. Also, according to law, it is a criminal offense for a person to obstruct, prevent, interfere with, or disrupt a lawfully called meeting through physical action or verbal utterance. Citizens are requested to supplement any oral address to the board with a written summary of their presentation and any recommendations they may wish to suggest. Thank you for your concern regarding our school district, and we will hear you now. So up first tonight, we have Tasha Wilson to speak regarding the budget and raises.
Hello, Superintendent Hinojosa and Board of Trustees. My name is Tasha Wilson, and I'm an IEP clerk, and I'm a proud member of Spring AFT. I came back to the district to potentially teach special education after graduate school. I accepted this position to grow my career in special education skills and provide a much needed support to our scholars that deserve it, and would like to speak to you about how you can grow and retain our paraprofessionals in Spring ISD. Me and my colleagues work extremely hard in the classroom, accomplishing many tasks on campus, whether it be campus arts or supporting our students in special education services that they receive and that they can get. And also parents, making sure that our parents have a clear understanding of our education path as their students grow with Spring ISD. I appreciate all that I do for the district, but one of the biggest challenges is the fact that each pay period, I make $610. I believe that my work and my colleagues are worth more than $1,200 a month. Like many employees in Spring in this district, this has been a challenging time for our families, and giving our paraprofessionals the much needed raise that they deserve is a vital part in keeping the best paraprofessionals in the district. Like our teachers, we also want a home in Spring ISD and have to work multiple jobs to survive. Hope that you do not forget the hardworking paraprofessionals while you're looking at raises for the 2022 and 2023 budget. Thank you so much for your time.
Our next speaker tonight is Yolanda Merritt to speak regarding the budget and a survey. Ms. Merritt, as you come up, I see you have documents with you, and if you will go give those to Mr. Sheffer, if those are something you wanted to pass out, and he can pass those out to the board. We'll pass those out after the comment period, if that's okay. Thank you.
And those packets are just so you all could follow along with what I'm going to present. And then let's give her a minute to distribute them. Yeah, we'll restart it. We'll restart it. Thank you. Tonight. Good evening, Dr. Hinojosa, Ms. Durant, our board president, and all of our board of trustee members. I am Yolanda Merritt, a leader with Spring AFT and a longtime teacher of Spring ISD. I am here to speak to you again today about one, the need to do a substantial across the board pay raise for staff, and two, work-life balance changes that could be implemented to increase staff retention. At the working board meeting on last Thursday, I wanted to jump through the Zoom call when it was asked, do we have a survey? I was pushing the button, and I'm here today to say yes. We've done a survey, and we would like to share that with you. We recently surveyed over 500 and received over 500 responses from Spring ISD staff that included members and non-members. I would like to share with you some of the information we gathered from that survey. Out of all of the respondents, 85% said they had considered leaving public education in the past year. When we further inquired about retention and what would increase your likelihood of staying, over 57% said a pay increase. The second most selected option was to have a more reasonable workload. In a separate question, 78% of surveyors stated that they did not have a healthy work-life balance. When asked about morale amongst coworkers as it relates to their current workload, 68% rated the current morale level as poor. Some of these issues can be addressed easily by making sure teachers receive their 450 minutes of planning time without interruption, add more time and extra days for planning, along with a more clearly defined workday. We understand that educating our scholars is a profession of service
and of a whole lot of heart. I believe we share in the fact that we do not do this for the money. However, we want to be able to support our family financially while spending much needed quality time taking care of our family as well as our own well-being. Spring ISD employees have shown their commitment to our students and our district throughout the years, and especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, in addition to the greatly appreciated stipends, we are asking that employees that we show our employees that they are valued, appreciated, and respected by passing a resolution to approve a 4% pay raise.
I'm sorry, your time has expired. We have no other speakers tonight, Madam President.
Thank you. I would like to thank all of our registered speakers and those that attended this evening. We appreciate you being here and sharing your information and thoughts with us. Our next item this evening is actually public participation. Mr. Binkley, do we have anyone signed up or registered to speak during public participation?
No, Madam President, we do not.
We do not. All right. So our next item this evening is a special presentation by our Winchie High School Green Phoenix Environmental Club. At this time, I would like to recognize our Chief of Schools, Dr. Miguel Perez.
Good afternoon, Board President, Superintendent Dr. Hinojosa. This evening, I am very excited to introduce and present a group of scholars from our Carl Winchie High School. As they make their way up here, I'm going to tell you a little bit about their project. If we can have the sponsors come up here as well. And because this is all student-led, I'm going to have them introduce their sponsors, and they're going to share a little bit about the project. But before they start, let me tell you a little bit about the three Plenish project, which has a goal of driving Spring ISD towards a sustainable future.
Good evening, everyone. It is so wonderful to be here today. My name is Lauren Jugan.
My name is Sarah Taylor.
President Durant, Superintendent Hinojosa, and the rest of you amazing board trustee members. My name is Devin Morgan.
And we are joined here today with our lovely sponsors, including Ms. Galloway and Ms. Johnson, and our amazing principal, Dr. James, who all supported us through this entire project and got us to where we are here today. So let's begin. Today, we are here to discuss our Tree Plenish project, which is our goal of driving Spring ISD towards a sustainable future. Mission statement. So why are we here today? We would like to present the idea of planting trees within Spring ISD in the community through the works of a company called Tree Plenish. How we plan to run today's meeting, I guess. To start, we will go more in depth about us and who we are as the environmental club at Carl Winchie High School, then talking more about the company Tree Plenish that we are working alongside with. Later going into our plan and our strategies for implementation, and then concluding with a quick overview of our ideas and answering any questions and when we have. To start, my name is Lauren Jugan. I'm the president and co-founder of our environmental club here at Winchie, and I'm a future Texas Tech environmental engineer.
So like I said earlier, my name is Sarah Taylor. I'm the other co-founder and I'm the vice president of the club. In my future, I will be at the University of Houston majoring in entrepreneurship.
Hello again, my name is Devin Morgan. I'm the secretary of the environmental club. I will be attending the University of Richmond in the fall to study environmental studies and urban planning.
The Green Phoenix Environmental Club. We are a unity of students from all grades and pathways at Carl Winchie Senior High School who have an utmost interest and concern for the environment. As a whole, we spread school-wide awareness on environmental problems and solutions that affect our communities and the world. We have completed several different projects already, including our Hurricane Ida disaster relief drive, where we were able to collect donations and different items from different clubs and organizations in our school, as well as just students ready to contribute and help to impact this horrible problem that was happening on a state nearby. So with the help of a local teacher, we were to work with him on getting those resources and different items over there to their churches and different organizations, and really get our students of our club that hands-on experience we love to give, as well as our movie night and fall festival, where we're able to just continue spreading that environmental awareness. Where it all began. We are an organization that was founded in 2019, which began as a just small group of students with our lovely original sponsor, Miss Laura Johnson, who was an environmental teacher at our school at the time. We didn't have a strong base, but with COVID-19, we were unfortunately cut the year short and limited our functionality. When we got back on campus in 2021, we re-envisioned our club and began connecting with more of our fellow students. And later in 2020, being able to acquire 230 members and partnering with a company called TreePlenish. So now we are in the works of making our huge tree planting event and finalizing our planting locations and getting the process approved.
So now to explain a little bit more about the company TreePlenish. So what is TreePlenish, you might be asking? TreePlenish is actually a nonprofit organization that partners with high schools, middle schools, elementary schools to help educate them about the paper they're using every single year. Schools will always be going through paper every single year, regardless of how much we're on our computers in the digital world. And actually at Winchie, we learned that we go through 100 trees every single school year, just with the paper that the office and stuff order and use in their classrooms. So then with that 100 trees, we learned that we need to be planting at least 100 trees, if not more, back into our community. With the TreePlenish organization, right now they have 85 schools involved, and they've planted over 19,000 trees. If you guys would be interested, our TreePlenish event website is right here. We have when our event is, people were able to order a sapling and help donate to our organization. And we have more about our event. And our goal was to plant 100 trees. This year we actually did fundraise and ended up getting over 120 trees. So we surpassed our goal for the year, and we will be planting 120 trees. So our project evolution. In September, we did get an email from the company asking if we would be interested in partnering with them. We were more than excited to, and we definitely accepted their offer. So then by December, after learning more about the company, we began calculating our paper usage and figuring out how many trees we would need to plant in order to make up for Winchie's paper usage. By February, we began fundraising and organizing our event. And then today, we are finalizing the locations for all of the trees and where we would be able to plant them. So our different tree types, we have 3 different tree types. The first one is going to be the pin oak, the second being the American sycamore, and finally the bald cypress. All 3 of these tree species were thoroughly researched by our officers and club members, and they fit well in the spring area and the climate and habitat and soil types we have. All of them grow around 50 to 100 feet, and they take quite a while to get fully matured.
Okay, so now we're gonna go into actually our plan. We're gonna be talking about where will these trees go, how they're gonna be maintained. Okay, so our trajectory and what we're planning on doing this. So first, we're gonna receive our saplings, which is 120. That's gonna be 40 of each type. So it's gonna be 40 pin oak, 40 American sycamore, and then 40 bald cypress. And then we're gonna be planting at our nearby park at Spring Creek Greenway. We partnered with them, and they're gonna allow us to plant some trees there. And then we want to plant at selective Spring ISD campuses. That's really the main goal of why we're here. We felt like a project like this would give not only the district an opportunity to drive towards a sustainable future, but it would give the students in these districts, an opportunity to get closer with nature, understand the importance of planting trees, understand the importance of sustainability, and just understand the importance of having green spaces in all spaces. And so that's pretty much what we're going to be doing. We're going to be working with the Spring ISD campuses to collaborate and educate these students on the importance of planting and the importance of sustainability. So that's where it led us to collaborating with Legacy Trees. We're going to actually be partnering with Laura Medic, an arborist and professional tree planter at Spring Creek Park. She will be assisting in the short and long-term maintenance of these trees. And this is actually a really good thing because she kind of helps it to where it's not just a group of high schoolers just planting these trees and leaving. We actually have a very credible person who deals with planting trees all the time. She was very amazed. She's been trying to do something like this, partnering with school district and planting trees for a really long time. So when we gave this opportunity to her, it was a no-brainer. And so now we have an actual professional who's going to be able to educate us on how we can maintain these trees. And what we're going to do, we're going to go back to these schools and we're going to educate them on how they can maintain these trees. So it can be an all-around project for, the science department, these different science clubs that are found on these campuses. And even reinforce that, Legacy Trees is basically where we adopted these trees. So our club has adopted these trees that we're going to plant at these campuses. So it becomes our club's responsibility. So later in the future, our future club members, they'll be able to lead these future plans and future projects with these trees. So the maintenance will be continuous. You'll have continuous people coming in and making sure that these trees are well maintained and they're able to grow and able to prosper. And so next, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up and get to our conclusion. And with that, we're just going to be talking about our timeline and, touching back with what we plan on doing. And that firstly starts with spreading awareness about the current event. And that's what we've been doing for a really long time. And that's really what we're here to do now, is just get it to you guys, because we know that we can speak it, we can preach it, but all of you are the ones who can actually put this into action to make this happen. So the planning event is we're going to actually get out there, get dirty, plant some trees. We're going to see how, all of this is going to work. And with that, we're going to pass the dream to the next team. We're going to educate our members, we're going to educate our officers that we have and get them prepared to continue this project, because we want to make this thing something that lasts for a really, really long time. And with that, we want to transform Spring ISD into a sustainability driven school district. Thank you so much. That is the end of our presentation. Here we have our president's email here if you have any questions. We also have our with the QR code there, that's going to lead you straight to our website. We have our social media, our Instagram. We love us young kids. We love that social media. And so, yeah, and that is about it.
We would love to answer any questions anyone may have now.
I'd like to say that I was so impressed with these students when I went. This young man that's speaking to us now's capstone project was on food deserts, and we live in the middle of one. And the research that they did, they actually met with the bookkeeper, calculated how much paper when she uses in a year, and that equivalent into it to 100 trees. I got tongue tied. But they did a lot of research to identify, the project, how many trees they needed to plant. And they shared with me that they had a partnership with the Arboretum, but they were trying to get permission from the board to plant these at our campuses. And I said, well, we might be able to work with Dr. Hinojosa to do that. So just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you all, because I'm not gonna lie, we were struggling. We're trying to find places to plant. And a lot of parks with COVID and everything, they weren't trying to do it because we're gonna be bringing in these large amount of kids. And then we thought about it. What if we just kept it in house? You know what I mean? What if we just bought it and allowed everyone else to get the opportunity to do an amazing project like this? So
and partner with our science departments, and it's great. Yeah.
So,
May I add a comment as a former biology teacher and an unabashed environmentalist? This is a win-win partnership where we would be starting, because I noticed with your 2 deciduous trees, those provide shade in the summertime.
Yeah.
And with the leaves falling, you can get the sunlight in the wintertime. Also, it just has been so sad with how many trees are cut down in our area because we were
Tell
a
me.
southern piney woods forest. But these trees are not the kind that just tip over usually in a rainstorm or windstorm. Also, they are trees that can actually create a microclimate. And I know that urban planners have shown that in some neighborhoods where you're just cutting down all the trees, the weather is more severe there. So I just, this helps us, and I hope it benefits you.
Told you Dr. Jensen was gonna love it.
Dr. Jensen, what's that first word you used? I need to look that one up. You said that those trees are what type of trees?
Deciduous.
It's in their deciduous. It's just that that have leaves, that fall off.
You got very excited about that word.
The bald cypress, I assume you're going to be in more swampy areas. Yeah.
I wanted to comment on the leadership skills that I just saw demonstrated by these students. And we've developed a definition of leadership, and we as a board and as a district are really big on the idea that everybody in the district is a leader and can demonstrate leadership qualities. So I want to congratulate all three of you for seeing a challenge, working collaboratively to develop a solution to the challenge, and then not being stopped the first time you ran into some obstacles, and persisting and persevering to be here. I also want to give big kudos to the sponsors standing behind you, the teachers in our district that are filling you guys up with what you need. We talk about portrait of a graduate around here. This is what it looks like. We're working to expand it, but this is what we're trying to do. So thank you to all of you, and congratulations, and whatever we can do to support.
All right. That's what we love to hear.
I wanted to commend you all on the presentation. I attend presentations all the time, and I put them together, and just the template, the slides, the way the presentation flowed. I mean, I was just engaged, and sometimes my attention isn't held too long, but I actually followed your presentation from the time you got up until the end. And thank you so much for providing and adding the credits to the slides, because the first thing I thought was, where did they get this template from? So thank you. And you all are just makings of great I'm in nonprofit management, and I work with a lot of community-based organizations, and you all are just amazing, doing some amazing work.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
I just want to echo my fellow trustees here. I'm so proud of you. I'm a little bit like Dr. Jensen. I'm a little bit of an environmentalist tree hugger, and I was just talking to my husband the other night about how much this area has changed in the last 20 years. Areas that I used to see just filled with woods and trees, and the deer that used to be here on Ella, and then all that went down. And so it warms my heart to see young people getting involved in their communities and finding ways to make a difference, and really make a difference. People don't understand how important green spaces are, and the trees and the microclimates, and there's so much study behind it. So it's exciting to see this happening in our district. So I thank you very much.
Well, that's it.
I guess you can see we're all very amazed at your presentation and your work. How many others do you have in your club?
We have a grand total of 230 members, and
It said that in there, but I didn't know. That's all them. Wonderful, wonderful. And I suppose everybody will be going out to help plant these trees. Well, I have worked with the U.S. Agriculture Department. So I'd like to say, if you need more trees than what you have, or if you're in need, please let me know, and I can make sure that they can supply you with whatever you may need. They supply trees to me on my ranch, so we can get you some too.
Definitely. That's amazing.
We would love that.
Love
That'd be
that.
Perfect.
So I'm just busting with pride. Is there any more comments Because at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion from the board to approve the Winchie High School Green Phoenix Environmental Club Tree Plenish Project and authorize the superintendent of schools to execute any and all necessary contracts.
Madam President, I move that the Board of Trustees approve the Winchie High School Green Phoenix Environmental Club's Tree Plenish Project and authorize the superintendent of schools to execute any and all necessary contracts.
Second?
A second.
It's been moved by trustee Jensen and seconded by trustee Carrera that we approve this Winchie High School Green Phoenix Environmental Club Tree Plenish Project and authorize the superintendent of schools to execute any necessary contracts. Is there any additional discussion tonight?
I have one or two questions about, so
Absolutely.
is the contractor that we're looking at these are the tree plenish folks? Is there any other?
No, the primary contract we have in mind right now is the contract with the arborist, with the Legacy Tree
Okay.
Group. That is a county organization and so would generally require board authorization and any other similarly related contracts. And we can certainly bring those back for board oversight, but to allow the project to move forward, we want to be able to move quickly when we can get those in place.
Are there any budget implications?
No.
Thank you.
Do we have an approximate cost?
None, you just said.
Zero. There's no budget implication.
I just want to be there when you plant the first trees.
Make sure we get an invite. Okay, if there isn't any other discussion, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. That motion carries unanimously. They voted. That motion carries unanimously. Thank you so much for being here this evening and congratulations. Before you go, would you mind, can we get a picture with the board? I also want to give a special thank you for Dr. Hinojosa for expediting getting this on the agenda tonight so that we could get on board with their timeline to make this happen. So thank you. And we're gonna come down and take a photo with you.
Okay, great. We'll let them know if they say they have it.
We do have our overall planting date as April 22nd on Earth Day. We plan to make it a big event with lots of awareness, and this will be where we plant at the local park.
Everybody ready? Oh, one more. One, two, three. A couple more. Got it.
Congratulations.
Yes, a portrait of a graduate and a lot of great work happening in Spring ISD, so I'm excited. Okay, we have our next agenda item. I'd like to recognize our Chief of Financial Officer, Ann Westbrooks.
Thank you, President Durant. On Thursday evening, we had a
robust discussion about the 2022-23 budget and our current reality, and some discussion that needed to provide us with some much needed guidance on next steps moving forward. But there were two items related to that discussion that we needed to circle back to our trustees and provide some information. And so the first item was some questions regarding our engagement with Kelly Services, and that is included in your, I believe it's a green folder that you have at your seats. And so that information has been provided for you to review. And then the next item that we had was to bring back a proposal to you based on the feedback and the guidance that was provided on Thursday evening regarding our recruitment and retention incentive plan for our teachers. And so I'd like to hand it over to Dr. Hill, our Chief of Human Resources and Human Capital Accountability, to walk us through this final proposal.
Good evening, Madam President, Dr. Hinojosa, and all of the trustees. If you would look inside your green folder, the very first sheet there is our revised teacher recruitment and retention proposal that we're bringing for the 2022-2023 school year. Based on the feedback that you gave us, we looked at the option 2 and option 3 and combined them together. So in terms of recruitment, which you see on the top half of the page, we are once again keeping the teacher effectiveness incentive, looking specifically for 2 prongs, one for teachers' T-test evaluation ratings, and also looking at their student performance data on the STAR and EOC. And if you're from out of state and we're recruiting you in, we look at the equivalents from whatever state you may be coming from. That would be a monetary award plus 2 wellness days. And you can see their amounts there that are listed. We took it up a notch for our retention, a retention incentive to retain all of our current teachers would be the monetary amount listed plus 2 wellness days. But we're also, in addition to that, they also have the opportunity to participate in the incentive, teacher effectiveness incentive, looking at their appraisal ratings and looking at our students' STAR or EOC performance data.
Open for questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So for the retention incentive, this is saying teachers who are currently in Spring ISD will
Yes,
receive a $2,000. Whoa.
That's it. We were refraining from giving the amounts, Ms. McDaniel. I'm sorry.
Apologies.
No problem. Yeah,
Okay.
you weren't here on Thursday.
Oh, okay. Well,
My apologies for not letting you know ahead of time.
Okay, so what? Okay.
You can make your comment, just don't talk dollars.
I think where you're going, the answer is going to be yes. That plus the second section.
Okay.
I think that's the question I heard you asking. Is it this plus that?
Yes.
And the
Okay.
answer is yes.
Okay.
So she raised your hand.
It's just feel a little explanations needed. It's a lot of competition out there right now trying to maintain our teachers and what we're doing as opposed to our surrounding districts. So that's why we're trying to kind of keep it a little. Okay. Any other questions? Because this is additional information we ask for. We will be having additional conversations for the budget moving forward, though. This isn't the end of that discussion, by all means. Okay.
I will have additional questions on, again, implications for the budget. And I recognize that, like, you're not gonna be able to give me like really precise figures because this will depend on how many folks qualify for these, particularly the retention incentives. But I would be interested in sort of a range of potential budget or potential costs in terms of our budget.
Yes, sir. So that is on the preliminary budget that we shared on Thursday evening. It's in the ESSER 2 column. So we would be able to take advantage of those one-time funds that are currently available to the district to fund both the recruitment and the retention incentives that are listed here. So they would come from those federal funds, and it's particularly that $17 million amount that we showed on the preliminary budget. So it would come from that pot of funds.
Okay, so I just want to be clear. So we're not using fund balance.
That's
for
correct.
this. Okay, thank you.
And one of the reasons that we brought this back tonight is because, of course, right now we're trying to actively recruit as well as to hold on to the teachers that we have and have them remain with us. So we do want the opportunity to get in front and let them know, what it is that the district wants to do in order to keep them here, as well as to bring new teachers in.
I was just going to ask about the wellness days, and I assume these are things that teachers need so that they can go to medical appointments or whatever their family needs, so that they just have some time off. They can go take care of business.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have any information, or maybe this is just a future discussion behind, because I want to make sure that what is on here is something that's attainable by the teachers. So do we have, or can we get some information behind kind of where our current population would fit in these, in the measurements? I just want to make sure that we're not putting something out there that looks good on paper, but just may or may not be attainable. I just want to make sure that it's a fair assessment. So I don't know if that's really a question or a statement, but.
I hear what you're saying. I was glad to see that everyone would get a retention incentive, but then there's a bump up for the test scores.
And this was based on just the ESSER funds that we have, those one-time funds. We still have conversations to have around starting salaries, raises, paraprofessionals. So we still have all that work left to do and complete. This is so that our HR department can get out there, recruit and retain teachers now, because those conversations and that competitiveness is occurring as we speak. Okay. Thank you for getting this back to us, Ms. Westbrooks, this evening. I'll give everybody a minute. I see a lot of still questions on your face. Are there other questions? I want to make sure we're all good before I move on. Dr. Hill, did you have any other comments to share this evening?
Other than we'd appreciate this opportunity for the board to vote on whether or not we can move forward with this proposal. We would like to hit the ground and continue to be as competitive as possible as we work towards trying to keep our staff that we have here, but also to recruit to fill the vacancies that we have.
So we're looking for a vote tonight.
We are looking, and Ms. Westbrooks, I don't know if we can get that presentation back up. That one slide that shows our local funds. And I know that's where we have concerns, because we are currently, the way we have our budget and where our enrollment stands, we do have a deficit budget. And that's that first column in our general funds. And then if you'll recall, we've got two pockets of money, our ESSER 2 and then our ESSER 3. Our ESSER 3 is mostly all spent as it stands right now with our recovery plan. But in the middle is where we had set aside, the administration had set aside approximately $17 million to really focus on attracting, enticing teachers to come to the district, which is this top part up at the very top. And, you know, our discussion was around, we want to recruit the best teachers. And so when you see this formula, it is recruiting teachers with a good track record. For them to join Spring ISD, we want to bring the best. And you'll see that, you know, the more experienced, the better scores, the more stipend or incentive they would receive. Now that's aside from the stipends that they would receive if they are a math or science teacher, a special education teacher. So bringing someone in from out of the district, they would get our stipend, our hard to staff stipend, plus these amounts here. And then the big focus for us was, you know, making sure we let our staff know, specifically our teachers know, that we value them, that we appreciate their commitment to Spring ISD. And so this retention stipend shows at the very top what every single teacher would receive: a financial amount plus the wellness days, which we believe are so very important. You know, we are still in a very sensitive state with the pandemic. And so we believe giving our teachers 2 additional days to use at their discretion is so important. Plus our high performing teachers would also receive not only that amount of money and the wellness days, plus what you see below. And so Ms. Westbrooks has it up here now. The first column is our general fund, and you'll see that currently we are proposing, based on what we see available for us, we are proposing a 2% salary increase. Now, as you're looking down at the bottom, and this is where Mr. Adams was talking, kind of, you know, thinking out loud, right now we are proposing a 2% increase, and that is pending our TASB study, but we feel confident on that, although it would place the district in a $28 million deficit. And that's just with a 2% pay increase. And then in the middle, that's where we have some funds, as you'll recall, that are available to the district. And that's where we had set aside the money, $17,862,000, to not only recruit the best teachers, but most importantly, to retain our teachers.
So we are doing a TASB study.
Mhm.
When do we expect to get that back?
No, Dr. Hill has requested it.
Yes, of course, as you would expect, TASB has a lot of business this year. They've quadrupled the number of districts that are asking for the study. So we're expecting to hear from them early in May, in just a few more weeks.
And that will let us know how we compare by category.
So that'll be in time for us
Mhm.
to do some, okay, okay.
And once we get the study back, then we'll be able to look at what we can do from a budget standpoint. But as you look at this, we're already 28 million with just that little bit.
So I will say, I do have some concerns about the deficit. And I want to sort of also talk about how we said this in the meeting last week,
Fund
how
balance.
we need to approach this from both directions. So we need to get those kids back. And we need to be paying attention to the other side of this in terms of the budget. Is this deficits like this, even with our healthy fund balance, just aren't sustainable. And so, and we do have a duty to taxpayers and to the families in this district. So
I'd like to, put Ms. Westbrooks a little bit on the spot and
Okay.
ask her if she can just kind of share kind kind of a summary of the state of where we are with this and what our options could potentially be, and just a little summary.
So where we are right now is we're only going into the second year of the ESSER funding as far as ESSER 3 goes. So we have ESSER 3 until September of 2024, including the rollover. So that's 2 more fiscal years. And so the thought here is to get in front of decisions that need to be made before the ESSER funds are no longer available. And so that's the funding cliff that we're avoiding by beginning these discussions and starting to make some of those decisions as we lean towards those years that are on the horizon. And so to Mr. Adams' point, it's twofold. It's what can we do to increase our revenues, but also what can we do to decrease our expenditures. And so right now, even though it's 2 years away, we can't wait to begin making those decisions. So it's being very conscious about the decisions that we're making now that will impact us 2 years down the road.
And so I do appreciate, and I always appreciate like your thoughtfulness around these issues. But when we talk about how we're competing with other districts, it seems to me, and I'm not in their meetings, that some folks aren't being so cautious as it relates to the funding cliff that we're approaching. And so I don't want to run ourselves off the same cliff that they're going over trying to chase them, is all I'm saying.
Well, I think that we can see here that we would love to give a much bigger pay raise than 2%, but that may be a max for us if we don't get our different parts of our system under control there, and that we're having to use the ESSER funds to provide the bonuses. But those are one-time things. It's just that the pay raises are forever.
Mhm.
And so I know that you're always warning us about how we provide things. So we're trying to balance the two and do the best we can for our teachers.
And though it's one time, the ESSER funds do provide an amazing opportunity to show the appreciation that we have for not only the work that our teachers are doing every day, but the additional work that comes along with working within this pandemic environment. So, and you see that reflected in the proposal that's being brought forward here. It's not a small amount, but it is something that is one time and it's available because those funds are there.
The ESSER funds puts us in a position to be able to reward them now with something, but to Trustees Adams' point, we have lost right at 2,000 students, which has reduced our revenue, which is why we're looking at this deficit and the limitations we have right now.
How many preschool kids did you?
Hopefully they'll
enroll?
come back.
We are definitely recruiting our students, and I'll tell you, our teachers are making those phone calls, and we want our students back. It's important for us academically and educationally for them to come back. That's a priority. And the second piece is, of course, right now, without those students, our budget is not in a good place. So we really need our students back.
Okay. All right.
And so, Ms. Durant, our board and our president, we are looking for a go-ahead on the recruitment incentives as well as our retention incentives. We want to give our HR recruiters that are out there now, you know, something along with the stipends that you saw earlier in the presentation. You saw how we increased the stipends. Ms. Westbrooks, can you go back on that slide? And we are increasing our stipends for our special education teachers, our bilingual teachers. So you'll see that moving forward, our teachers, our academic teachers will be able to stack their stipends. So if they're a bilingual certified teacher and special ed, they will receive both stipends. And that's part of the recruitment strategy that we are putting out there. And so we also want to have an approval, a go-ahead on the recruitment incentives, and that gives our HR recruiters something else to share with prospective Spring ISD teachers, as well as our retention incentives. I know you've seen everything that's been out in the news, social media, districts that are growing districts or much larger districts that have their, budgets in a better place. You see that they've already put out their retention incentives. And we want to make sure and let our teachers know before they get on social media and see what our neighboring districts are doing. We want them to know, first and foremost, that this is their home, that we value them, we want them to stay with us. And most importantly, that our board is willing to make the decision to put this on the table so that you know how much value you bring to our students, and we want you to stay here in Spring.
Dr. Hinojosa, Madam President, I don't see motion language anywhere here.
I was gonna make one for you in just a minute.
And so just bringing I know this is the presentation at our work session, and you'll see that we've put in our budget a cost of $1.1 million to increase our stipends for our teachers, especially the teachers working with our special populations, those shortage areas, those math and science, bilingual and special education.
Do some of the stipends go to paraprofessionals or just teachers?
In this case, the stipends are just for our certified teachers. I will share with you all, if you'll recall, our opportunity culture model that we are piloting this year in 5 of our campuses. You'll see that our paraprofessionals will be receiving stipends, an additional compensation for the role that they play in these programs. But this year, as we roll it out, it will be implemented in 5 schools. And then our plan is to roll it out district-wide. But for this coming school year, it will be implemented in 5 campuses.
Okay, this is our tough time of year. We have to make tough decisions with what we have. So Ms. Westbrook, did you have anything else to add?
No, ma'am.
All right.
Thank you.
So at this time, I'll entertain a motion for us to provide our Human Resource Department with approval for the 2022-2023 teacher recruitment and retention proposal and the retention incentive as presented by the district.
Madam President? Oh, would you?
Go ahead.
Madam President, I move that we give the Human Resources Department the go-ahead to proceed with the 2022-2023 teacher recruitment and retention proposal incentives and also for recruitment and retention.
Second.
It's been moved by trustee Jensen and seconded by trustee Adams to approve the 2022-23 teacher retention proposal and retention incentives as presented by the district. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. That motion carries unanimously. All right. Dr. Hill, move forward and keep our teachers and go get us some new good ones. All right.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, our next item tonight is a discussion on the possible nomination of a name for the Spring High School softball field. I'd just like to say a little bit about our nominee. As trustee Adams mentioned earlier, we attended an event recently for Coach Julie Warwick. She has won 10 district championships in Spring ISD. She's been 4 times the district coach of the year. She has been at Spring High School for 22 years. She's won a total of 602 games. She's 2-time Board of Trustees Point of Pride recipient. She's had 19 playoff appearances, 1 regional final appearance, and 1 state tournament appearance. We all had a wonderful opportunity to meet her, some of her current students, former students over at Spring High. We've received requests from a lot of our community members, our namesakes, school namesakes, former teachers and principals in support of naming that football field after Julie Warwick. And so I would like softball. Thank you for that correction. The softball field at Spring High School. So at this time, I'm going to entertain a motion, and then we'll have some more discussion.
Madam President. Go ahead.
Madam President, I move that the Board of Trustees name the Spring High School softball field for Julie Warwick softball field.
Do I have a second? Okay, so it's been moved by trustee Newhouse and seconded by trustee Adams that we name the Spring High School softball field after Coach Julie Warwick. And I will now open it up for discussion.
It was so much fun seeing that surprise recognition of her at the softball field, and having her past players come and see what amazing young women they are and what they've done with their lives. I love the strong extracurricular activities Spring ISD offers all our students. I really think that it helps them become an all-round wonderful person. So.
Yeah, I'll echo that. It was really impressive to see all of the students of Coach Wyrick coming back, going back decades, and the impact she had on them, and it shows. So I just recently ran into, when we were at the conference in San Diego, I ran into a woman who was my mentor my first year teaching. And I taught 2 of her kids. I taught high school algebra to 2 of her kids. And one of those kids is a teacher now. And so that's a taste of what Coach Wyrick has been experiencing for some time now. And it was really gratifying to see it. And whatever we can do to get more of our teachers and our people to stick around with us for 20 years and have that impact on our students, we have to figure out a way to do that.
Winning 602 games is not an easy task for a coach. 602, 607 now. I'm sorry, that's an improvement, 607 now. So hats off to Coach. I tell you, her girls really showed the love that they have for that coach and the relationships that she has built over the years with not only just her present one, but as Debbie said, all the past athletes that came to show their gratitude to her was quite warming. So I think we have a jewel in Coach Julie.
We do. Yes, and to watch her professionalism during the game and her rapport with her team was just amazing. And like my colleagues have commented, she had students that came back just to recognize her from years ago, decades ago, and that only speaks to what a phenomenal asset she's been here in Spring ISD. And I think what we're considering this evening is well received and deserved. Any other discussion? Then I'm going to call for the vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. That motion carries unanimously, and congratulations to Coach Julie Ward. Okay. So our next agenda topic are our board ad hoc committees. And so I'd like to just for a moment ask if the audit committee has an update this evening. I'll recognize trustee Newhouse.
Madam President, yes, I would like to share with everyone that we have a new audit committee now that is meeting, and we are meeting monthly. The audit committee and our internal auditor, Patricia Rios, has sent out a survey request to the board members. So I'd like for you to please check your email and get that back to us as quickly as possible, because we do have a report that we want to bring to you next month, but we need your input from that survey. So if you will, please do that as quickly as possible. Thank you. And that concludes my report for the audit committee.
Our next audit committee is our board governance committee. I don't know, do you have a report this evening, Dr. Jensen?
I do, President Durant.
All right.
We had a meeting March 24th. I want to thank President Durant, Vice President Adams, Ms. Hill, Mr. Binkley, and our superintendent, Dr. Hinojosa. We discussed our advocacy issues and how we are going to be drawing from local, state, and national issues. But when we make our decision on where we're going, we really have to trim it down, because we can't work for every single issue we care about, but we're going to have to prioritize. And we will be trying to join other advocacy groups. And when there aren't any for our issues, we will be trying to form our own on those. Also, one policy update is we had a court case go in our favor. So we're glad about that. Also, we're beginning to review policies we've looked at in the past. They're not terribly exciting policies to most people. It's purchasing and things like that, but it's really important that we get it done. And we are beginning to have our employee excellence nominations again. During the pandemic, for some reason, we were getting very, very few nominations, and we are again. And I'm going to make a plea out to the whole Spring ISD community. You can be a parent, you can be a community member. If you know of a wonderful Spring ISD employee, please submit a nomination, and you'll find that form on our website. The only thing I want to go to now is that we are going to be trying to tie our priorities to or advocacy priorities to our priorities in our district. So we're going to be looking at equity as well. And as Mr. Adams told us, we now have a new chairman for the Senate Education Committee. His name is Brandon Creighton, and I've been on his website and signed up for his newsletter, so we can communicate with him. And he's from Montgomery County, so he's kind of a neighbor. And that's all I have to say for tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Jensen. Our next committee is our equity committee. I don't know, do you have an update this evening?
I do, Madam President. We met last Tuesday with Dr. Hinojosa and fellow committee members, Trustee Correa and Trustee McDaniel, and almost Dr. Maria Melendez, and discussed the professional development offering that we're proposing for our teachers as they go undertake the summer, working on cultural competence and cultural awareness, and doing so in a manner that is in compliance with HB 3979. And so she basically gave us a summarized version an abbreviated version of the training so that we could see what the teachers would experience. And I'm not sure if the rest of the board might at some point like to experience the summary that Ms. Melendez offers, but I think I'm speaking for all of the committee that we approve and we think it's something that is very necessary for our students and for our teachers. So that concludes my report.
Mr. Durant, and Mr. Adams, just really quick, and I know we have so many staff members, Marie Mendoza.
Mendoza.
And actually, Ms. Mendoza.
here?
Yes, she
I was
is here in the
thinking of,
back
I was
Wanna
thinking
stand up?
of Ms. Melendez from
last Thursday.
Sorry, Ms.
So,
Mendoza.
yes. So we had Ms. Melendez last week present on Thursday, our summer school project. And Ms. Mendoza, as you know, she's overseeing several programs. And the last time you saw her was in our reading initiative. But she has done a lot of work, significant work on cultural awareness. And so, you know, just let us know if the board would like to see her presentation, and we could arrange for that.
Yes, if we could share that with the whole body, that would be great. And thank you for your work. All right. And finally, I would like to recognize Trustee Kelly P. Hodges for our Bond Community Empowerment Committee.
Thank you. You threw me off. You said bond.
I sure did, didn't I?
I'm not talking about.
You're not gonna talk about that, huh? The Board Community Empowerment Committee.
All right.
Thank you. I'm all over the place
That's
tonight.
okay,
Okay.
that's okay. Thank you, President Durant. The the Community Engagement Committee, which is now noted as the Community Empowerment Committee, is a new committee that we formed under the leadership of President Durant. And the committee is essential because it is important that we work to empower our stakeholders and to work to tell our own stories. So I was very pleased. We had our first meeting on Friday, March 25th, and we met again yesterday. And I want to thank Dr. Hinojosa, our superintendent, for pulling together such a great group of our school leaders working on this committee. And our goal is to plan events, engagement activities, and activities and events that are going to empower not only our community and our students and our families, but just the community as a whole. So our first event coming up will be a mental health awareness fair, and it's going to be very interactive. We're going to have a, I'm losing my train of thought, where you sit on thank you. A panel. We're going to have a panel discussion. So it's not just, you come and pick up information. We're actually going to have mental health professionals there that can engage our families, our students and our parents, and they can ask questions. We'll also have our own community resources available, things that are available right here within Spring ISD. So we're very excited about that. And that's our first event. Next we're partnering and we will have an anti-bullying event in May, because May is, if I'm not mistaken, May is National Anti-Bullying Month. Is that correct? And so we will have an anti-bullying fair. And then this summer, we're actually planning a fair for a college readiness fair. So we have some things planned out throughout the rest of this quarter and our summer months. And then we're going to hit the ground running in May and planning activities for the fall. So look for a lot more information from our committee, and definitely we'll have flyers and information out. We'll be partnering with the communications department to get the word out. And so if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. If you have any suggestions on things that we can do in the community, please let us know. We're not just going to be a committee that comes out and hosts an event and we talk. We want to give back, but we want you to receive, our community to receive the information and have input on what we're presenting as a committee and as a board. So thank you. And thank you, Trustee Durant, for trusting me with your vision to oversee the committee.
Thank you. So any questions for any of our committees?
I just wanted to thank Trustee Hodges. That's quite a list you have there. And I every one of those, when I've been in a situation where I had problem with housing or my finances, it made me very unhappy, you know, that it really is for your well-being. So I think you have a wonderful list.
Anything else? All righty, great job. All right, so our next item is the consent agenda. So now entertain a motion to approve and adopt all of the items listed on our consent agenda.
Madam President, I move that the Board of Trustees approve and adopt all of the items listed on the consent agenda.
It has been moved by trustee Newhouse and seconded by trustee McDaniels that the Board of Trustees approve and adopt all of the items listed on the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Not hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. That motion carries unanimously. Thank you. All right, so the Board of Trustees will now recess this open session and convene in a closed meeting in accordance with Texas Open Meeting Act, Section 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, and 551.076. No voting will take place in the closed meeting. Any action the board wishes to take as a result of the discussion in the closed meeting will take place after the board reconvenes in an open session. And the time is now 8:41. We will now reconvene and resume the regular board meeting of the Board of Trustees. It is now 10:16 p.m. We will now address the items that were discussed in closed session. Are there any motions?
Madam President, I move that the board approve the superintendent's recommendation to terminate at the end of the contract term, the probationary contract of Peter Filler as presented in closed session, and to authorize the superintendent or designee to provide notice of the board's action to the impacted employee pursuant to Chapter 21 of the Texas Education Code.
Do you have a second?
Second.
It's been moved by trustee Adams and seconded by trustee Newhouse that the board approve the superintendent's recommendation to terminate at the end of the contract term, the probationary contract of Peter Fuller as presented in closed session, and to authorize the superintendent or designee to provide notice of the board's action to the impacted employee pursuant to Chapter 21 of the Texas Education Code. Any discussion? Call for the vote. All in favor, please raise your right hand. That motion carries unanimously. Are there any other motions?
Madam President, I move that the board approve the superintendent's recommendation to propose the non-renewal of the term contracts of the following employee, Taryn Canick, as presented in closed session, and to authorize the superintendent or designee to provide notice of the board's action to the impacted employee pursuant to Chapter 21 of the Texas Education Code.
A second.
It's been moved by trustee McDaniel and seconded by trustee Carrera that the board approve the superintendent recommendation to propose the non-renewal of the term contracts of the following employees, Tara Canick, as presented in closed session, and to authorize the superintendent or designee to provide notice of the board action to the impacted employee pursuant to Chapter 21 of the Texas Education Code. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. That motion carries unanimously. Seeing that there are no other items on tonight's agenda, I will now entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting. All right.
Madam President, I move that we adjourn our meeting for tonight.
Second.
Been moved by trustee Newhouse and seconded by trustee Adams to adjourn tonight's meeting. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion carries unanimously, and this meeting is now adjourned at 10:19 p.m. Thank you.